And how many times have you actually worked on a file where you reach to a point where you're waiting on something from a client, you're waiting on something from the attorney, you're waiting on something from opposing party, you're just waiting. You're stuck waiting. Hello, and welcome to CasLovesTech. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I am so happy to have you. If you're one of my loyal subscribers, welcome back. I am so happy to see you again. Now, this video and the next couple of videos involved are going to be just slightly different because I'm working on a special series for all of my fellow legal assistants and professionals that are struggling with the case management systems that their firm uses on a daily basis. So for my legal assistants and paralegals or legal professionals that are struggling with the legal system that your firm uses on a daily basis and want to make your workday just a little bit easier, this series is specifically for you. Whether you're buried in emails, constantly switching tabs, or just tired of doing the same things the long way, I've got you. The fourth hack that I'm going to share with you today is another one that is quite simple, but not so quite simple. And we did do something very similar to it already, but I can't leave you without doing another automation. So we're just going to do another one together. And this hack is actually just to create a waiting on workflow. And how many times have you actually worked on a file where you reach to a point where you're waiting on something from a client, you're waiting on something from the attorney, you're waiting on something from opposing party, you're just waiting. You're stuck waiting. And you continue going through the motions, maybe work on another file or another case because you're backlogged and you want to make sure that you're keeping up with the deadlines, and something could simply slip through the cracks because you've just been waiting. This workflow, I guarantee you, would save you the hassle, the stress, the angst, the anxiety, all those things, all the feels from having to worry about whether or not you actually followed up, did the next thing that came next into the series of things that you had to do for a specific matter by creating this waiting on workflow. I'm going to stop talking about it and we're just going to go ahead and get into this workflow together. We'll do matter move to stage, and we'll for this one focus on the family law, and we're just going to do the one for mediation payment. We're waiting on mediation payment for this one. So once we have this, all we really need to do is just to make sure that we put a note to let us know that we're waiting on it. And you could do this one of two ways. You can send yourself a reminder, or you can send yourself one of three ways really. Send yourself a reminder, send yourself an email. Actually, there's more than that. You can send yourself a reminder, you can send yourself an email, you can add an event to the calendar, or you can send a task to yourself as well too. Those are your options. But any one of the options that you choose is honestly just going to give you a gentle nudge so that way you know that there's something still pending here. If you did the task option, what you could do with the task option is just leave that task as not completed and it will remain red. Another option that you can do too is you can always do a reminder, and the reminder will just remind you. And you can do it as an email reminder or an SMS reminder. I would choose the one that you're actually gonna use. And if you didn't do this and you just went back and you didn't do a reminder at all and you actually just focused on, let's say, task. Let's say that you did it as a task and you picked your matter and then you put waiting on. If you just did this and then you added a due date to it, and I would make this due date coincide with whatever due date you told the client that they needed to have the payment submitted by, whatever your firm's process is for payments, that's what you're going to use for this. And to just keep things simple, I'm just going to put 15 days because essentially this would be needed to be even begin coordinating the mediation. So I'm just going to do 15 days here, and it's 15 days from the trigger date. And then I'll just do the start date based on the date of the trigger date so that there's an actual start date in there. And you can honestly continue to move this along if for whatever reason you don't get the payment, and then you can do whatever is necessary. You can, when I say move it along, I mean update the due date of it so that way it's staying inside of the system and notifying you that there's something there for you to do. If you didn't do this option, and you just mark the task completed, you can always do another delay, and you can make the delay for maybe 10 days. And then you can add another task again to remind you again that you need to, you're waiting on the payment from the client. Now, to exit this workflow, just like we did with the other one, you can make it to be based on a tag. So we're going to look for a tag here. And for this one, I am going to do contains. And then we're going to put mediation payment received. Or you have the option of doing the stage. And you can do is, and then you can make it so that the next stage that comes up is to schedule the mediation, right? Once you receive payment, you can schedule it. Then I would make that be the stage that you focus on here. And this would simply mean that whether you actually went the route of saying, okay, like I want to make this focus on the tag, or I want to make it when the matters move to another stage, that's going to be when it exits this rule. So that way you're set up for success and you're not possibly missing an important deadline because not even a deadline, you're just forgetting to jump back into this case or this file because you didn't make a note of that specific thing. I always like to make sure that I add the matter that is associated with to this. So I went back and I added that just to make it easier to identify which case you're waiting on more information from. And that's it. I know it's easy, it's simple, but it's one of those things where as easy and as simple as it is, sometimes things just slip through the cracks. And a part of having access to technology is really just using it to make sure that you're helping your firm run more efficiently and more smoothly. And so that you are putting parameters and tools in place just for yourself as well, too, to make sure that you're focusing on whatever is right in front of you and not also forgetting about things that may not be top of mind or on top of the radar at that specific moment. Those are some of the reasons why we focus on some of these things. All right, that's a wrap on hack number 4. And these kind of quick wins might seem small, but trust me, they make a huge difference in the day-to-day flow when you're trying to support the attorneys at your firm. And we're not done. Next week, I'm breaking down one of my absolute favorites, how to set up custom reports that give attorneys real-time insights before they even ask. You don't want to miss it. In the meantime, if you're ready to go deeper and get access to exclusive tutorials, templates, and live office hours with me, definitely check out the CasLovesTech Insider subscription. It's made especially for legal teams who want to stop spinning their wheels and start working smarter. I went ahead and dropped the link below, so please come and join the community. And I'll see you next week for hack number 5. Until next week, continue thriving with your systems and have a wonderful day.